Alex Lafkus here. I want to talk a little bit about mid-May trout fishing here in the upper Midwest, Michigan, whatever. Mid-May's kind of a tricky time of year, you know. Everything that revolves early in the season is based on your Hendrickson hatch for the most part, and then black caddis trickle in. Now, once those hatches kind of wrap up, which is about where we're at now, not about, I mean, if you're in the Grayling area, it's wrapped up. If you're a little further north, say Pigeon River country, you might still have some caddis and Hendricksons around. Um, but as we get into this mid-May time frame here, there's a couple of there's a lot going on. This is when if you walk into the fly shop and they load you up with 2 dozen flies, don't be surprised because they probably should have sold you 4 dozen. Um, a lot of what's going to happen between now and brown drakes is for mayflies, you're going to see a lot of sulfurs, a few light hennies, depending on where you are, and March browns. That's basically, size 18 through 12 of yellow mayflies. So having a wide variety of those is a good idea. I like to have a couple different styles of emergers and a couple of dun styles. Those are more for just blind fishing and generating bites versus a hatch type situation. And then you're going to want to have some sort of spinner pattern. As our weather gets more consistent, you'll start having more of that. The other important fly is a black quill, commonly referred to as a um, I think they call it a little mahogany or something. Black quill, brown bug, whatever it is. It's size 14 spinner. Um, it comes out of the sand. So if you're in a sandy section, Manistee is well known for it. Mactoparmalee, Connor's Flat, stuff like that. You're going to have black quills. It's a pretty consistent spinner fall, and some nice fish will get on them. So 14s, I like the hen wings. I think it's probably because a ton of people don't have them. People don't tie too many of them, and 14 Borchers, but I'm also going to carry my Roberts Drakes and a 14 parachute and this, that, the other thing in yellow, and in brown. So you kind of just go yellow and brown and have them everywhere from size 12 to 18. It gets to be a pretty reliable spinner fall, like I said. Might be short lived, but good nonetheless. And you're going to start seeing more stone flies, yellows, light olives. There's an amber stone out there. You start seeing some of the bigger stones, a thrasher, which is a black with yellow. It's about a size, it's like a 10, a 2x long, 10, 12, whatever. That can provide some decent blind fishing, and you can also dump a nymph off the back of that if that's what you want to do. A big part of this time of year, too, is caddis hatches. We're still, black's wrapped up, but we're into tan and popcorn caddis, which can provide some good fishing if you know what you're looking for. Um, I fish a lot of caddis stuff. It's very technical and challenging, but you can catch some nice fish on it. Um, Caddis pupa are really the way to go. A lot of guys like throwing an elk hair because they can see it, or an ex caddis or whatever, and it's fine, and you'll catch some small fish on it, but they don't need it real good. You need the larva, you need the pupa. When they're rising, that's what they're focused on. It'd be like if you were trying to put on weight and you ate a bite of a hot dog and ran a mile. You know, that's what chasing those egg laying caddis is like. So the fish don't really eat the egg layers. They want to eat the hatchers that are stuck in the film. Pretty similar to mayflies, but it's even more pronounced during caddis hatches. Um, and you're going to get tans and popcorns. I tie most of them on like a curved hook 16, and that's because it's you tie it kind of small, and it's like a size 18 also, and they're small, and you get a little better hook gap on the 16. The nymphing for the caddis hatches really can be quite effective too. Um, I never got into the check nymphing thing. I always felt like if there's no fly cast, there is no fly fishing. That being said, a lot of people look at nymph fishing like there's no fly casting. There can be. I use just a variety of just general basic caddis nymphs, but I like to run these pinch-on floats that are really light. They'll land delicately. Usually if I'm running 2 tungsten beads, I'm running dueling, like 2 of these little floats, but you can cast them nice and easy on a 5 weight, and it's still kind of like fly fishing versus just hucking monofilament out there. Um, it can be fun. I do, I don't do a ton of it. I guide it a handful of days a year, and it's very effective. We'll catch some really nice fish doing it. So it is fun. It's probably, they're probably be my least stressful trips of the year because I know we're going to catch fish when I go to do that. Fish really key on the caddis nymphs. Like you look at the guys in Arkansas, and I've learned a lot about the caddis stuff from those guys because they have such a big caddis hatch and they catch so many big browns on it. I mean, last week I was seeing pictures of, my buddies are sending me pictures of 26 to 30 inch browns they're catching on caddis. Now you're not going to do that here, but you can get some nice fish. Um, so they're all eating it. You get enough flies that they're all eating that caddis fly. Um, when you're looking for risers, they're a very small percentage of those fish eat the caddis dry, but they're all eating the nymph. So that's something to keep in mind when you're out there. Streamer fishing. This is always, now that your water temps, we've got a really interesting situation here as we're in the middle of a big warm front and we're going to get hit with a cold front. So our water temps, this is one of the small times a year where our temperatures are in the 50s. And I've pitched some streamers the last few days. And once water temp gets up there, it's been decent, and we haven't gotten big fish, but, I'm guiding whatever, and we're getting bites. So streamers are always something to go to in your tweener times. A lot of your tweener time occurs. A lot of people see caddis flying around in the evenings and think it's a caddis hatch. It's not. It's an egg laying process that's about useless as far as fishing goes. Um, but when they hatch, which it tends to be earlier in the day, that's when they feed on them. So if I'm out there and all of a sudden caddis die, I'll switch to a streamer or like a 14 Borchers or 14 Henwing spinner, something like that, and that you can generate some bites. Um, or going to smaller streamers. Right now we're kind of in low water, so smaller streamers have been more productive for me. Unweighted stuff, just so I can keep it up over shallow flats. I've been running my 7 weight with a 200 grain or a 6 with a 150 and fishing it shallow. River's starting to get busy. As my kind of people are going to do what they're going to do, and it does get busy out there. Sort of my theory on trout fishing in general is if I can get a bead of water to myself, I don't almost don't care what time of day it is. Obviously, peak rise in the evening would be the best, but that's harder to get. But this is a time of year where you can, if you just get out there and you can get some alone time out there, you should be able to figure out how to catch fish. Um, you're in the 50 some degree water temps. We're probably touching 60 right now, but that's going to change in a hurry with this cold front. So things are really going to shuffle coming up into this weekend. So I want to get this out before that so that people kind of have an idea. Like it's going to be peak spinner fallish stuff, this week until it cools down, and then look for better daytime activity. A lot of times when you get this 50, 60, maybe some clouds, like your sulfurs will come earlier. It's a good time of year to, if you booked a guide to go float, because you do have opportunity throughout the day, and it's not just a condensed 1 hour window at night, which a lot of it is when you start getting these warm nights. Not much during the day, and then the last hour can be phenomenal, and that's what you're doing your whole day for. So look for things to change this weekend with the cold front coming in. Look for afternoon hatches, early evening, 5, 6, whatever. Just kind of got to go to find out. Um, it should be fun. It's a challenging time of year. I don't think people give it enough credit because it's not as easy as other times of year. Hendricksons are easy. And it's a condensed window. Big fish show themselves. I've had just as good a fishing through this 2 week period as I ever have during Hendricksons, maybe without the top end, but when you're talking 21-inch fish on dries, that's fine. Um, in it's kind of gets a little more diverse this time of year, and then we'll fall into, as we get later into May, there'll be some, you start In June, you start getting into the drag stuff, which is a big time evening deal, and that's that. So enjoy the cold front because it's going to be probably your last good daytime fishing for multiple days in a row for a while. So anyway, hope some of this kind of helps you as you get geared up for the weekend to get out there and fish. Take your flies, man. If you're wade fishing, you're going to have a sore back from carrying all your fly boxes, but it's that time of year. You got to have it all. So thanks for checking out the video. Any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. And like, subscribe, helps keep me motivated, and hopefully this helps. Thanks. Here's a basic rundown of a lot of the flies I'll be carrying. First, there's some stone flies. I run just real simple stuff. You're going to see the yellow stone, yellow Sally, which is a 14, it's a 16. People try to get away with 14 but can't. Amber stone, which is 12, 14. And then I always carry the mattress thrasher, which has the yellow head, black body. They'll get on that a little bit better. But, a little assortment of stones. There's also a little olive stone that'll be out there that's like a 16, maybe an 18. Next is kind of a mayfly selection, which is, I'm going to have spinners, a spent wing type of thing. I'm going to have it from 12 to 16. I like the hen wings, kind of hard to find, very effective still. Down, and then some Roberts Drakes 12 through 16 and Borchers parachutes. I tie mine with a natural deer hair wing. I don't know, guys like the white, I like the natural, whatever. Same with my Roberts Drakes. You don't see them as well, but it is way better, especially if you're fishing more low light versus fishing at dark or whatever, or just midday. You want the natural. Then you're going to have a selection of kind of a merger type parachute things. You're going to see sulfurs, you're going to see light Hendricksons, and March Browns are going to come. The March Browns are more of a 12. You can tell them because they have speckled legs, brown and yellow speckled legs on a March Brown, and they're big. So I'm going to carry this type of stuff in a couple different styles of emergers, and then, duns, whether it's a parachute with a shuck or a compare dun, something like that. But, once again, 12, 14, 16 in the yellow stuff. And then caddis, which are going to be around for a little bit. I carry a few different styles. I like this caddis pupa, which is basically a ball of lint. You can't really see it on this camera, and that's because they're tiny. Another ball of lint, but with a little wing, so you can see it. Curved hook, size 16 for the tan, 18 for the popcorn. Maybe you can do a 16 on the popcorn, especially on the curved hook. And if I'm going to blind fish any caddis, it's usually the Hemingway caddis. The caddis emerger stuff is hard to see on the water, but very effective. Then I always have a few caddis nymphs. I do a couple of nymph fishing trips a year. That's just the green rockworm, hare's ear, that's not even hare's ear, just hare's ear dubbing on a hook. And then it's a little holographic flash body with a little ribbing and a dubbing ball. Whatever, real basic stuff. I don't get too mixed up in it, but I do carry a wide variety.